You don't need your low end jumping. You need your low end to be smooth. Every other part of the song can be jumping, but the low end should be consistent and smooth. So,
go kill die for. Some man go right, some go for.
Boom family. So what stood out on this mix for me is the way I was able to control the drum, and we're going to go through the three aspects: the drums, the vocal, and how I was able to do a little bit of control on the overall mix. So let's first of all solo the drums so that we know what we are doing. So this is a cool techniques I'll be sharing. So you'll be surprised that I solo the drums, but I solo the drums now, but you are not hearing kick. This is one big secret I want you to implement. I want you to try. I remove the kick. I don't box my kick with the rest of the percussions, drum percussions. I remove the kick because they don't live in the same environment, in the same axis. Since the kick has that wide range of frequency, you don't want to pair them with things that are snappy, that are very short in terms of frequency. So I treat the kick like the bass. So let me bring the kick now so that you see what it's doing. So even if it's an Afro kick and it has this body, you can still hear it in your iPhone. I'm not using iPhone, but I know with the experience and with what I have been able to bring out, that nuances using this guy, limiter, exciter, I was able to bring that touch of grit, they call it, on the kick so that we'll be able to feel it on an iPhone. Then I'm going to bring in the bass now, so that you see the way I treat the bass and the kick. The bass is also boxed separately. Do you hear the bass? So even with an iPhone, you can also hear the bass very well. While I also use those techniques to bring out those nuances. You can see an exciter in the bass. Do you get it? You can see it now. So, and this sub bass was actually playing like two virtual. I needed that finger touch, as if I needed the bass to have that, as if you're using your finger to hit it, to have that finger feel on the bass. So I use this bass JJP bass stereo. So to bring out, I focus on the edge, this edge and the attack, to bring out that touch of that finger, to bring the touch of that finger so that it will feel as if you are playing it real life. So let's hear it. So, and of course this will also allow you to hear it on an iPhone or any phone generally. See, so don't forget, any low end instrument, don't forget to use limiter. It's very important. For those of you that are battling with mastering, my master is not loud, my song is not big, the secret is actually limiter. Use limiter on your low end. You need your low end to be consistent. You don't need your low dynamic on you don't need your low end jumping. You need your low end to be smooth. Every other part of the song can be jumping, but the low end should be consistent and smooth. So always prioritize using clipper, limiter on any low end instruments. This brings me back to the kick. Why I said I treat the kick as if I'm treating the bass. So as you can see, let's bring in the vocal.
People they warn you, but they listen. Even when you see that they come in or be sick.
Just play it from where.
That I want make you know, so make you let's go. Paddy, not die, be and money. People them go see.
This song is actually from UK. Avicii Records, shout out to him. And I think the artist is from Sierra Leone.
That I want make you know, so make you let's go.
So the artist actually wanted a brighter vocal. I've already taught vocal brightness. I use this guy to cut off the low end. I solo this only this area of the vocal, and as you can see, focusing on the drive to make it smoother and make it dirty. Then the ESA to control those T's because it's very harsh up there, so I have to blend it in.
That's I want make you know, so make you let's go.
So the artist actually said, or the manager actually said, they needed a very bright vocal from her. So
that's I want make you know, so make you let's go. Paddy, not die, be and money. People them go see them talk about you.
So let's go back to the drums. Let's see what I do on the drum. You see there is sub. On this sub drum, I boxed the rolls. Why did I box the rolls? Because the rolls would come in and play as high as possible, because you know when they make an impact to the song, so they kind of, that's why sometimes when a song is going in certain peak, when the roll comes you see it on the red, so you want to control that, you know, that peak that is introduced by the rolls. You need to control it separately before it hits the drum box. So I will now box back this sub now back. You can see the output now here is coming back to that drum box, but in a controlled way. Do you get? So if you see the sub now, I'm using what am I using to control it? Simple, a tube saturator, because this saturator will control those peaks. It's more like a limiter, it's more like a clipper that will add character to the. So I needed to just use something that will add character to those rolls. So let's go to the roll and see what happened on the rolls. You hear that roll? Let's go play on that roll. See the roll? So it's pretty much one particular roll.
If karma fall on you, go regret.
So see those rolls coming in. So if I don't control them, they're going to contribute to, you know, to the peak, and it will hike. So I use that one to control the peaks, then boxing it back to the drum box without the kick. You see, the kick is separate from the drums entirely. Then now, if you are EQing your drums, you need to pay attention to this area where our ear is sensitive to.
If karma fall on you, go regret. I the one you know.
So this area, which is the high mid frequency, I cannot specifically state that the area high mid frequency, so look for it yourself. That's an assignment. High mid frequency, so that is where our ear is sensitive to. So look for a way to look for an area there where the drum is harsh and reduce it. That is probably one of your biggest problem when it comes to drums. So that area, reduce it. That high, for me, I'm reducing around 3K. You get, and I'm using somewhat middle band, like wide, going to that wide band. So as you can see it here. So yeah, my analog is on. Then another interesting thing I did, this filter, I activated the filter and I removed 70 because I want. And how did I do this? I'm playing it with the kick, with the vocal, playing it with the kick, with the vocal, and trying to sweep it through. Once I feel that the drum percussion now is leaving the kick and the bass, and the low end of the vocal is kind of leaving it, then I will know that, oh, I'm going too much, and I will not dial it back a bit. That is the right spot. Do you get? Dial it back a bit. That is the right spot for the percussions. So you listen to know what type of percussions do I have. As you can see now, let's play the percussions.
So okay, woman, you for keep. Make me no remember you when you are late.
So the percussion is not harsh in the. Even if I decide to increase the percussion, it's not harsh. It's not much. It's very, 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 very subtle and pleasant to the ear. That's because I remove those harsh frequency on the percussion. So if you come to the melodies, I won't play the melody because the song is not released yet, so I don't have any reason to. But the melodies, look at one interesting thing I did on the melodies. I actually went to that area that will fight with the low end again, which is between that 200, 250 area. And I use somewhat a mid band, something that is not too wide, but somewhat close to wide band, and I reduced it by 6 dB. Listening to it, but that's a very problematic area. If you play your song in an iPhone, in a phone, and you feel that distortion, that the song is distorting, this is probably the area that is causing it, because this is where almost all the instrument meets. This is the junction of all the instruments. This 2K area. If it is low, there's nothing you play except hi-hat. If you play snare, if you play percussion, this is where they meet. Most of the congas, percussion, this is where they lie. This is where they live. The kick comes here, the bass comes here, the keyboard comes here. So you want to kind of, control that. Don't forget, in the percussion, we also rolled off a bit of the low end. But here now we are using a band, a bell shape to now type of control, because we need it. We still need it, but we'll just try to reduce it a bit to kind of create a bell, to make those percussions shine, and to create that smoothness on the stuff. So this is more like an advice in a general mix, so that you can try. Do you get? So you just play back the video over and over again to really get what I'm trying to explain. This is a very nice mix.
So okay, woman, you for keep. Make me no remember you when you are late.
So this is just trying to tone the song and just EQ out any things, These stuffs vary, so you don't need to do it, like they say, word for word. Don't do it, don't copy and paste. Use your idea, implement it, and just follow it as a guide. You get? And definitely it will work for you. I'm already raising a lot of good engineers. People send me songs and I'm able to review them. They send me songs, I'm able to review them. They are really nice. I must tell you, people are learning a lot.